Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the May 12, 2020 regular meeting of the Westchester Board of Trustees. Mr. Jones, roll call, please.
Yes, Mrs. Becker?
Present.
And Mr. Wong?
Present.
And Mr. Welch?
Present.
Please stand with me and face the flag. We'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We don't have any comments this evening, so we will start off our evening with a great group of presentations, a few proclamations from us tonight. So I'll toss it over to Mr. Burks.
Yes, thank you. We have the opportunity tonight to honor several of our departments through the National Recognition Weeks. These represent our largest employee groups in the township, and they are typically the most visible employees the citizens see in the township. There are not necessarily weeks set aside to honor HR or finance professionals or many of the other employees that are committed to doing the people's work, so I want to thank those employees now, and they should know that they're equally valued. We'll start tonight with National Medical Services Week, honoring those who serve as first responders to those requiring medical care, and also to prepare they go into dangerous situations and to rescue people and address the needs of the people sometimes having the worst day of their lives. So we'll begin with a quick video. I hope it's on.
To assist you.
That's great. Chief Prinz, if you could just say a few words about the recognition and the service and your crews.
That was, wow, what a video. All that is possible because of your support, so we truly thank you, Fiscal Officer and Administration, for the recognition, for the proclamation. We truly appreciate your support. But I must recognize the professional men and women of the Westchester Fire Department who day in and day out work hard, train hard, and learn the newest and latest techniques as far as emergency medical services are considered, so that we can provide the best, most responsive emergency medical care that we can to our community. And we do this with pride, and we thank you all for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Next, we have a brief video for, we're kind of out of sequence here, and my information is here. I will have a brief video regarding public safety and the police department, and then we'll have Colonel Herzog say a few words. Yes, honoring law enforcement professionals who have lost their lives in the line of duty. We are grateful every day for the work of our police officers. They put themselves in the way of danger to protect our families. Police Memorial Week is May 10th through the 16th, and we offer this tribute to those in law enforcement who have paid the ultimate price, and I truly appreciate that. Colonel Herzog, if you could say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Burks.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank the trustees for the proclamation. The men and women of Westchester Police Department fight hard every day to keep this community safe. This being National Police Week, this allows us to reflect on all the officers that lives were taken from their families, protecting our safety and the communities around. So this is a week of honor for us and remembrance, and it reminds us to live our lives to honor all those that have fallen before us. So I want to thank you. I want to thank the community, the outpouring that we get, whether it's through cards, thank you cards, and gifts of food. We always love food, so that's always good too. As long as it's prepackaged from a local retailer, not homemade right now, due to the COVID. But I just want to say thank you, and I want to, pray for all the families that lost loved ones fighting to keep us safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our services employees are honored this week as part of National Public Works Week, May 17th through the 23rd. These are the employees who are out in the community every day working on our roads, infrastructure, mowing the grass in our parks, and maintaining our facilities to a standard that everyone has enjoyed. We have a quick video to show them in action as well. That's great. Tim Frank will say a few words about his men and women in his department.
Sorry, Mr. Jones. First, I'd like to thank Rick and Joel and his staffs as well. They've been through it here with the pandemic and done a great job for the township as well. I want to remind everybody, this is the final day of Nurses Week also during this time, so thank a nurse when you get the opportunity. And then I want to thank the trustees for your support. You provide us with a lot of resources here in Westchester to ensure that our infrastructure is in good shape and that the businesses and residents are happy with what we provide. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. I also want to point out that May 4th through May 9th was Economic Developers Week. This was created in 2016 by the International Council of Economic Development, or ICED. It's an acronym that I can't remember right now, but I want to thank the community development team for all their hard work and all the great success that they've had over the last several years. So.
Mr. Welch, Mr. Wong, do you have any comments?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
No, thank you. We have the best services in the country, so
I agree with
we
that.
appreciate all of everyone's hard work. Wonderful. Let's move on. We've got a couple action items tonight. I'll entertain a motion to approve trustee meeting minutes for April 28th, 2020.
So move.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Jones, roll call, please.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
Mrs. Becker?
Yes. I'll entertain a motion to approve payment of bills.
I so move.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Jones, roll call, please.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
Mrs. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Burke's requisitions greater than 7,500.
Yes, item number 1 is for Strasser Construction Incorporated in the amount of $132,917.82. This is to approve slurry application for 2020. This is CIP number 1255. In January of this year, the board approved Resolution 02-2020 requesting that Westchester be included in the black mat or slurry contract through the Butler County Engineer's Office. Westchester has identified 1.6 miles of streets to be included in this year's slurry contract. CIP 1255 was budgeted in the amount of $150,000 for 2020. Bids were solicited, and Strasser Construction was awarded the contract. Item number 2, requisition item to Jackson Construction Incorporated in the amount of $22,770. This is to remove asphalt from curb on Cross Bridge and Sprucewood, CIP number 1254. Several township streets scheduled for pavement this year have pavement on the curbing. We've talked about this briefly before on other business items in the past. And working with one of our previous curb contractors, Jackson Construction, we have identified a way to remove the pavement from the curb without running a milling machine over the curb. This saves money and curb replacement. Community Services requests the board for approve a purchase order for Jackson Construction in the amount of $20,700 plus a 10% contingency fee in the amount of $2,070 for the total of $22,770.
Thank you, Mr. Burks. I'll entertain a motion to approve requisition items 1 and 2.
Also move.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Well, it's that time of year,
Yep, work that needs to be done.
right? This slurry extends the life of our streets.
Absolutely.
The next step, after you've been slurried for a few times, is to pave it.
Yep,
Yep.
it's a good practice. Anything else? No? Mr. Jones, roll call, please.
Mrs. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
We have no personnel items this evening, so we'll go to first reading of resolution. We do have an emergency resolution tonight. Mr. Burks, will you read emergency resolution 10-2020?
That is agenda item number 5, correct?
No.
Did I skip something?
Skip one.
I believe that is a statutory resolution, item number 5.
Oh, okay. I had emergency resolution.
Yeah. Yeah,
Item
we're,
three.
Business item
should be
3.
on item number 3 now.
Oh, I apologize. Business item number 3, administration. Sorry about that. I skipped
all
a
right.
section.
Yes, motion to extend emergency status and reauthorize Township Administrator to respond to coronavirus circumstances through June 9th, 2020 at 11:59 p.m. As we have been frequently, you've been delegating the ability of the Township Administrator to immediately obligate the Township for purchases up to $30,000 for emergency response to the coronavirus and to address those through various measures. Any authorization above $7,500 as approved by Resolution 06-2019 will be put on subsequent agendas. Although there are none tonight, there may be in the future, and I don't think we're quite out of the woods yet, so we want to be prepared in case something happens. And at the April 14th Board of Trustees meeting, the trustees reauthorized the Township Administrator to respond to the coronavirus until 11:59 p.m. on May 12th, which is this evening.
Very good. I'll entertain a motion to approve item 3.
I so move.
A second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? How many times have we used this in the process of this coronavirus outbreak?
I'm going to say only 4 or 5 at this time. Most of them were for PPEs. We did have a few purchases that were under my authorization level at $7,500. So I'm not sure if you want to count those. We're just counting those as operational expenses, but we are tracking them very closely so we can get FEMA reimbursement at 75%. To number right off the top of my head, I just only a few times at this time where it's been over $7,500.
Just curious. Thank you. Anything else? Mr. Jones, roll call, please.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
Mrs. Becker?
Yes. Mr. Burks, item 4, administration.
Yes, motion to apply for the 2020 U.S. Department of Justice Office of Justice Programs, Bureau of Justice Assistance Coronavirus Emergency Supplemental Funding Program Grant, and to authorize the Township Administrator to accept said grant if awarded. The Police Department is requesting permission from trustees to apply for this grant, and if approved and accepted, the program will assist funding the Westchester Police Department to prepare for, and respond to the coronavirus over the next 2-year grant period. The coronavirus pandemic has put the police department in the situation of purchasing items that we do not normally utilize in our everyday duties. If awarded, this grant can be utilized for the purchases of equipment, supplies, gloves, masks, sanitizers, things of that nature. If awarded, the plan is to purchase an electrostatic sanitizing machine. This will be utilized for the cruisers and the jail and in other common areas and facilities, and then utilized for the purchase of PPEs.
Very good. I'll entertain a motion to approve item 4.
So move.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, quick question. That sanitizer, is that what, UV? Does that use UV light?
I believe it is a electrostatic.
Electrostatic.
Joel's got
Joel?
details.
Yeah, maybe you can.
It's different than the one they used to clean Station 74?
I'm not sure exactly what they use on Station 74, but this is basically like a fogger, and it puts a mist to where it will go not only on surfaces, but it'll travel underneath surfaces also. So it'll get inside keyboards, mouse crevices, mouse as in computer, not mice. And it's also food safe, so it can be used in kitchens and that. It's something that we could utilize around the township also.
Good.
It's, Lakota West has something similar. The school district has something that's what they basically fumigate areas in that. I think they set off like a bomb inside some Station 74, which is a similar thing, but it's not with the machine itself.
So this is the machine only, and then we have to purchase
The cleaning solutions?
materials? Yeah.
Mhm. It's not that expensive. It comes in, you can get it in 5-gallon buckets and everything.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah, good purchase.
yeah,
Great.
thanks.
Uh-huh.
The great thing about this is there is no match to this grant. This is an award, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah.
If we're awarded this grant, then
Yeah.
there's no match.
It doesn't state on here what the award amount is.
That, they determine that.
They determine that?
Yeah, we list, when we apply, we list the different things we'd like to purchase or that we've purchased that we'd like reimbursed for, and then they decide, when they distribute the grant on how much you get off that.
Got it. Okay.
Excellent. Good grant.
Thank you, Joel.
Thanks. Anything else? Nope. Mr. Jones, roll call, please.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
Mrs. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Now we go to the emergency resolution.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. Resolution number 10-2020, amending the Township 2020 permanent appropriations and declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading. Amendments to permanent appropriations are proposed and presently presented periodically throughout the year for board approval because revenues are forecasted and expenditures are estimated months in advance for most steps in the budgetary cycle. Therefore, adjustments are necessary. Adjustments ensure that the township budget's projections for revenues and estimates for expenditures accurately reflect what occurs throughout the year. The subject resolution amends the appropriations in various funds to account for necessary adjustments effectuated by conditions and circumstances difficult to anticipate so far in advance. Although each fund is unique, the proposed amended appropriations reflect circumstances actualized through the multiple steps of the 2020 budget cycle and are summarized in this memo and this agenda item. Please, in layman's terms, what happened in this case is we received more funding through our TIF districts, and we also need to appropriate the amount of money necessary to the school districts as well to make them whole. I'm sorry, I don't know exactly which TIF district goes to which fund, but I'll go through them. Fund 213 is an increase of $15,000, and Fund 214 is an increase of $300,000, and Fund 215 is an increase of $900,000. So the school districts will have their appropriate share of each of these funds. And in order to pay them, we need to amend the appropriations budget.
Very good. Any questions or clarifications about Resolution 10-2020?
So this was money that was unexpected?
Correct.
Okay. And it's simply going into these different funds. Fund 2014 is Tyler's Place TIF service payments?
I believe so.
Okay. And,
There it is, yep.
okay. And can you explain to me again what was the reason for the net increase?
I'm sure it has something to do with the property values. The property values, or maybe there was a development or something that was appraised at a higher than what our estimate was for that year.
Is that based upon Roger Reynolds' valuation for 2020?
I believe so, yes.
It might be a sale price, too.
Well, not the 2020.
This is sold.
It may have been something during 2019. It may have been 2019 that if development was done in 18, it went on the 19 rolls, and we didn't account for that.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Some additional property also that came on.
Additional properties came on the rolls.
Okay, that were not previously developed?
Right.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
I'm sure there's a variety of other reasons, and Ken Kime would be happy to summarize some of them. He's not here tonight, but at a later time, if you have more questions, we'd be happy to talk to you
Okay.
about it. Or
Thank you.
I think that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Anything from you, Mr. Wong?
No.
Very good. We'll come back to that in a minute and do the second reading. We came to now the second citizens' comments portion, and I don't think we have any questions from the general public this evening. Are there anyone that had any questions here in the audience? Seeing none. If you do have questions for the next meeting, feel free to email Lisa Brown in our administration office, and she'll get them to us at our next regular scheduled meeting. So let's get to the vote on that resolution, we'll do the second reading. I'll entertain a motion to declare resolution number 10-2020 an emergency and dispense with the second reading.
So moved.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Jones, roll call, please.
Mrs. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 10-2020.
I so move.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Jones, roll call, please.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
Mrs. Becker?
Yes. Now we've come to our discussion items and elected official comments. Larry, did you have anything for us tonight?
Yes, I'm sorry, I got the acronym correctly here because instead of mentioning Economic Development Week during the presentations, I planned on mentioning it now, but it's IEDC, which is the International Economic Development Council. Sorry about that. Wanted to make sure that was clear. We received a request from Trustee Wong to continue to receive updates from Westchester Hospital regarding the treatment of COVID-related cases at the hospital here. And as of May 11th at midnight, Westchester Hospital had performed 1,361 tests. There were 95 positives and 1,064 negative with 31 pending, for a total of 1,195 unique cases. Since March 16th, the emergency department has seen 1,065 patients with COVID-like respiratory symptoms, of which 309 were admitted. Year to date, Westchester Hospital has cared for 21 inpatients within the hospital who were COVID positive. That's all I have.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Mr. Jones, did you have anything this evening?
I have no comment, but thank you.
Very good. Mr. Wong?
No, I have no comment.
Oh my gosh, chatty group tonight. Mark, do you have anything?
Bruce, I was going to say.
I don't have anything, but I wonder if Chief Prinz might share an update for these 6 firefighters that tested positive, their condition and the impact.
Sure, be happy to. Thank you for asking. As you know, we had 6 firefighters who tested positive for COVID-19. All 6 were on the same shift and were in the same station. Out of an abundance of precaution, we tested all 3 shifts, Unit 1, 2, and 3. Luckily, we were able to contain and break the infection cycle with just that shift. So the other 2 shifts tested negative. That shift at Station 74, Unit 1, did test positive. Out of that 6, only 2 had symptoms where they didn't feel very good, the cough, the headache, the body aches, the fever that is associated with the COVID. Since then, the other remaining 4 have never had any symptoms. And if they did, they were very mild. Almost explained to me like like what you would think of a typical allergy season affliction, a sore throat, maybe a little bit of a cough, but that's about it. Several of them commented that they felt so good, in fact, that they probably would have continued to come to work because they had no signs or symptoms. So we're happy that we did what we did and tested that entire shift to make sure that we got everybody, and we weren't letting people come back to work who were positive but not symptomatic, because that would have been run rampant through the department. So we're fortunate that we caught it when we did and were able to stop it when we did. So the good news is they're all recovering. The 2 that had some symptoms they had a pretty rough, that first week was pretty rough, and now they're feeling much better. And in fact, today, they went for their first round of testing, so they all have to test negative on two separate occasions before they can come back to work. So 14 days has elapsed, their signs and symptoms are on a decrease, and they get tested. So if today's test comes back negative, we have to wait 24 hours and they do another test, and if that comes back negative, then they can come back to work. So we're very hopeful that their test results are negative and we start to get these people back to work.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Good.
Chief.
Thank you
Good
for that
response.
update. Did you have anything else?
Nope.
I don't have any comments tonight either. Keep it short.
Wow.
So, we do have executive session tonight.
And it'll be short.
Wow. Crazy, fun. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to recess the regular meeting and go into executive session. Our purpose tonight is to consider confidential information related to the marketing plans, specific business strategies, production techniques, trade secrets, or financial statements of an applicant for economic development assistance. I will entertain that motion.
I so move.
1 second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Jones, roll call, please.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
Mrs. Becker?
Yes, we are in recess. back from executive session. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn executive session and resume the May 12th, 2020 meeting.
So move.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Jones, roll call, please.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
Mrs. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
We've concluded all of tonight's action items and business, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the May 12th regular meeting of the Westchester Board of Trustees.
I so move.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Jones, roll call, please.
Mrs. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
We are adjourned.